Coming up on Inside the High School Game, Whitehaven and Cordova collided in our Reeves Law Firm Game of the Week. Plus, ECS and Collierville squared off in front of a packed house. Wooddale faced Lausanne in the battle of private versus public. These highlights and much more, including a huge cross-country meet, and Houston soccer continues to dominate. It's all next on Inside the High School Game. Inside the High School Game brought to you by Reeves Law Firm. Let us be your voice. And by Uncle Lou's Fried Chicken. If the Colonel had his recipe, he would have been a general. Now, let's get inside the High School Game. We begin in Eagle Land, where ECS took on their second 6A opponent of the season. A few weeks ago, a tough loss to Houston. On this night, a good Collierville team came calling, coming off an emotional win against their head coach's former team, White Station.
It was a tough game, hard-fought game like I expected. And, I hurt for those guys afterwards, honestly. But I was very excited for our guys here at Collierville.
And when it came to this game, Coach Riccani and the Dragons knew they were in for another battle.
ECS is very, very good. Their schedule shows that, their record shows that. But, watching film, very impressed with what they do. Of course, they're well coached. Know a lot of those guys. Coach with one of those guys over there too, and he's done a great job. We got our work cut out for us, but I think we'll be prepared Friday night.
They're very good up front. Up front, they got some studs up there, and they got some big boys. So I think it's gonna be a very good challenge for us, and I'm very excited. It's gonna be a fun game.
To the game we go. ECS 4-1 on the season. Collierville came in 3-2, and the Dragons brought the fun first. Mitch Austin, reigning Primetime Performer of the Week, finds John Hampton III, and John Hampton III about to get his game on, makes a man miss, and you can give him the 6. 73 yards on the catch and run. Collierville taking a quick 7-0 lead.
He's sleeping on us.
On ECS's first possession, the Dragons forced a 4th down, but the Eagles, with the early gamble, the fake punt, gave them a 1st down. Matthew McMeans, a big night with a rock in his hands. More from him later. Same drive, Eagles going to the air. Jacob Hatcher to Preston Daniel. That gives the Eagles another 1st down, and moments later, they made it a touchdown. McMeans, his first of 3 on the evening. Extra point missed, ECS down 7-6. Still in the first quarter, Eagles on the drive again, but this time the Dragon defense forces a big play. Jalen Greenwood strip. Collierville says they have it, and they do, but the Eagle defense did a good job of not letting Collierville back in the end zone. They had to settle for 3. Caleb Myers on the field goal. Those the last points the Eagle defense gave up, and the offense helped them out. Matthew McMeans, 4 words, holla at your boy. ECS, another impressive outing. They win 27-13, and McMeans meant business. 25 carries, $167, 3 touchdowns. Mitch Austin led the Dragons with 207 through the air and that one early touchdown. Both teams hit region play next week for big games. ECS on the road at rival Lausanne, while Collierville makes the trip to Cordova. Speaking of the Wolves, they hosted our Reeves Law Firm Big Game of the Week. They took on the second-ranked team in the Grade 8 Power Poll, the Whitehaven Tigers. They brought their physical defense to the home of the Wolfpack, and it was on full display. The Haven leading 14-0 at the half. They had the Wolfpack offense on lockdown the entire night. Third quarter, Cordova backed up deep, and they had no room to run, no room to hide. Whitehaven forced a punt that was shanked that gave the Tigers great field position. They did what they do best on offense, run the rock. Cam Sneed with a touchdown earlier in the game, find some room there. Then Keyshawn Harris decides to keep it all for himself. The easy score around the left side. Whitehaven up 21-0. And you knew at that point it was all but over. Fourth quarter, Tiger defense playing fast and loose. Cordova barely moved the ball at all. In the second half, the Haven putting on another fantastic defensive performance. Another shutout, 21-0, the final.
Well, they played together tonight.
They trusted each other. We had one miscommunication on the play, and that gave him that long play. So as long as we communicate and we talk and we know our assignments, we got a chance to be a very good defense, and they're playing that way right now. So if we can hang our hat on defense as the offense continues to gel and continues to get together, we're excited about where we can go as a team.
Let's take a quick break into action. Coming up next, highlights of Wooddale, Lausanne, Booker T Middle College, plus cross-country and soccer highlights, and last week's Primetime performer. Next, right after these messages.
Hey, you've been off all day.
I got a notice from the bank yesterday. I'm going to lose the house.
I was in that same position a few years ago. All I did was call the Reeves Law Firm, and they handled the rest.
Reeves Law Firm. Let us be your voice.
Let's go to Lausanne. Public versus private. Lynx hosting Wooddale. Lausanne led 17-13 at the half. Both teams had kick returns for touchdowns. Tavin Davis had one, and he almost had another one. Later in the game, Craig Cunningham, the sophomore, 151 yards on the night. He capped off this drive with a touchdown. 2 on the even for Cunningham. Lausanne led 24-13 after 3. Fourth quarter now. Wooddale on the comeback trail. John Jones to Kylan Grant. And look at Kylan Grant make things happen. Charles Jones would take it in from there. Wooddale with the lead, and they would seal the deal on defense. Terinsky Rogers, give me that. Cardinals with a big win, 35-27, the final. Let's take a look at the latest of the greatest. The grade 8 power poll. Houston had the week off. You saw Whitehaven take care of Cordova. Briarcrest 6-0 with a win over Madison Ridgeland out of Mississippi. Covington still perfect. MUS moves back up to 5 after blanking Fairleigh. ECS jumps to 6 after knocking off a 6A opponent. Freedom Prep at 7 and Fairleigh falls to 8. Receiving votes, Christian Brothers, Kirby, and Wooddale. Flashback to Thursday night now. Our top game featured Booker T and Middle College. The Warriors on a short week after winning a 6 overtime game against Westwood, while the Bulldogs were looking to erase the memory of their 36-7 loss against Freedom Prep. In the first quarter, Booker T was ready to gamble 4th and long. Not for long. The fake punt in their own territory, and Perryon Gates was off to the races. Gates going 83 yards before being caught at the 1 by Joyner Stevens. On the next play, it was just a formality as the Warriors punched it in on the quarterback sneak. BTW led 8-0. Later in the first, the Bulldogs came barking back. A touchdown tied the game, and then they untied it on this play. Kevion Ransford got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion to put Middle College up 16-8. But this was long from over. Booker T would hustle back. Deep in Bulldog territory is Dante Sharp, and the big fella can't be stopped, pushing his way into the end zone. 2-point conversion, no good. Warriors down 16-14. In the second quarter, it was Sharp on the carry again, and the ball bounced on Booker T's way, the fumble. But Perryon Gates says, no worries, I got your back, and I got myself another touchdown. Gates in the right place at the right time gives BTW a 22-16 lead. But Middle College says, don't let the video fool you. The Bulldogs came back to win it. 38-28, the final. Let's check out some primetime performers for Week 6. 2 quarterbacks and 2 running backs went for 200+ on the ground. Vote now on Twitter at SportsZoneTV1 for who you think should be the fan favorite for primetime performer of the week.
Runners, set.
We switch gears across country. Huge meet under the lights at Shelby Farms. Annual Frank Horton Invitational hosted by Christian Brothers. Teams from Memphis and all over the South participating in this one. Jackson Williams, our Arlington standout top runner in the region. Expected favorite. He set the pace and he won the race. Williams taking it home in a time of 15:41.18.
My plan was to just go out with the leaders and see if anyone was going to push the pace or not, and then if they didn't and I felt good, then I was just going to push it by myself and see what I could do. Good confidence booster going into next week.
All right, Jackson won the individual title, but Bartlett won the overall boys championship. Arlington second, Brother Martin third. Houston and Christian Brothers round out the top 5. On the girls' side, Houston won the overall title. And speaking of the Lady Mustangs, let's talk soccer. Their team ranked 6th in the country. They took on Bartlett on a Tuesday night. Houston in attack mode early. They had some point-blank chances, but give the Lady Panthers some credit. Their defense in deny mode early on, stopping Mustangs scoring attempts left and right, and they continue to do so for almost the entire first half. Later, the goalie getting involved. Good play there. but notice I said almost the entire first half. Can't keep a great team down long, and Houston raises up. Madeline Eskin from way outside, the first of 4 goals for her on the night. Houston got the victory, 5-0 the final. Lastly, we wrap things up with a special look at Week 5's Primetime performer. After scoring the game-winning touchdown against White Station in overtime, Collierville's Mitch Austin is our Primetime performer of the week.
I knew it was going to bounce to the outside, try to get to the pile line. I saw an opening, and I accidentally slipped, and I just found a way to get in.
To me, it was an easy call to put Mitch Austin with the ball in his hands to win the game for us, and he did.
Austin's quarterback keeper gave the Dragons a 27-24 win. It was one of 4 total touchdowns on the night for the senior, who likes to use his legs to make things happen.
I'm not the tallest guy out there, so I got to use my legs. And so I feel like my legs play a big part of my game. You know, once I get outside and start scrambling, that's where I become effective.
He has as much experience as anybody on this team, so he's a veteran. I think his competitiveness really meshes with mine. I think we're very similar in that way. We're pretty fiery and passionate, and he shows that. He's done a great job of being more vocal, and that is shown too. So yes, his play speaks for itself. He's having a heck of a year. He had a great year last year too, but his leadership has really gone to another level.
I mean, we can go as far as we want to. Once we learn how to play fourth quarters, we should be fine.
That's going to wrap it up for another week of Inside the High School Game. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Sunday right back here.